Now, I'm sure most of you probably know what the 401k is, or at the least, maybe you've heard of it. For those of you that are outside of the US, the 401k is basically our most popular retirement savings plan. So, with pensions on the decline and social security benefits potentially facing shortfalls, especially if you've seen the latest news, you might be more informed about that and kind of know what's in store. It pretty much falls back to the 401k. And that's why in this video, we're going to dig in and talk a bit more about the 401k and why it's so important. And I'll go over some pros and also some of the cons. First of all, just going really quickly, but a 401k plan, like I mentioned, is our retirement savings plan. It is a tax advantage retirement savings account offered by employers. So if you work for an employer that offers one, then you can contribute a portion of your salary to the plan, and sometimes your employer offers a percent that they'll match as well. The money in your 401k can also be invested in a variety of different ways, including stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and etc. So let's first start off with some of the good of a 401k. Like I mentioned, it is tax advantage. So the 401k is tax deferred. So if you're thinking why not just save the money and put it in your bank account or maybe even the stock market by yourself, this is actually a very important distinction. The 401k contributions are actually taken from your paycheck before taxes. So while if you invest with your paycheck, you're investing with your paycheck after taxes. But what's so important about tax deferred anyway? Well, you might actually be aware that the sooner you invest, the more it can grow. That's the power of compound interest. And with more money that you can have now to invest, that means that your money would grow a lot faster than if you were only able to contribute post-tax dollars, because it's literally just more money up front, and that's the concept of time value of money. But just to clear up any misconceptions, this does not mean it's tax-free. Because eventually, when you withdraw from your 401k, you will have to pay taxes, but those taxes will be at your then income bracket. Number two is employer contributions. Like I mentioned, some employers offer matching contributions, effectively providing free money. So, according to a report by the Plan Sponsor Council of America, somewhere between 85 to 95% of 401k plans include some form of employer matching. So, definitely make sure to contribute enough to take full advantage of the employer match. And just again, employer matches, if you put in, let's say 5%, they might put in a 4% to match you, or maybe up to the 5%. That's really the concept of employer matching. Number three is automatic enrollment and contributions. Something like 2/3 of companies have some sort of automatic enrollment feature in their 401k plans. So this means that some of their employees are automatically enrolled unless they specifically and purposely opt out. But this automatic enrollment actually encourages saving behaviors. So here's a fun fact. But there's a study that shows automatic enrollments have significantly increased 401k participation, with some estimates citing 90% or more participation. Number four is investment options and growth potential. So 401k plans typically offer a range of investment options. So that lets you tailor your portfolio based on your risk tolerance, your age, your retirement goals, whatever. And keep in mind that with compound interest, even modest contributions can actually grow significantly over time. But of course, the more you contribute, the more you can potentially earn. And again, word of caution, 401ks does not necessarily mean that your money will always increase. There are times that it can actually decrease. Number five, retirement security. Like I mentioned, traditional pensions are going down. So really one of the main vehicles that we have is the 401k. And basically more of the responsibility will now fall onto us to make sure that we have enough for retirement. So that's why a 401k plan with all those other things I mentioned is really important, because it encourages long-term savings, which helps you build a nest egg for when you're too old to work or when it's time for retirement. And generally, people with a 401k savings are much more likely to have enough savings for retirement than those who do not have a 401k savings. Number six, higher contribution limits. Compared to things, let's say the IRA, 401k plans generally allow for higher annual contributions comparatively. So for example, in 2024, the limit for a 401k, the max you could contribute in a year, was $23,000. If you are of a certain age, you also have the option of an additional catch-up that lets you contribute an additional $7,500, and that's for people that are age 50 or older. This is compared to the IRA, where you have a limit of $7,000 annually, or an additional $1,000 for those 50 and older. And also with the IRA, you contribute with your post-tax dollars instead of your pre-tax dollars. And only if you're eligible will you get it back at the end of the tax year, along with your tax refund. So I don't know about you, but an IRA seems to me like it comes with a few more hassles, plus you at least lose out on 1 year's time of the tax deferred advantage. Number 7, loan options. So 401k plans, at least many of them, allow participants to borrow against their own savings, providing access to funds in emergencies whenever you have one. Now, I know some people tout that if you borrow from your 401k, there's no downside because while you do owe interest, the interest actually goes back into your own account. But just keep in mind that the longer your money is, let's say, lent out to you with whatever you're doing or using it for, the less time it's in the investment account and less time there is for it to potentially grow. So that's something you should keep in mind. Even if you can take out a loan, you don't necessarily want to, just because of that reason. Number 8 is protection from creditors. If you're really good at saving money, and let's say you've accumulated a good amount of savings or a large nest egg or some assets, maybe you've started looking into asset protection. This is not a comprehensive video on it, but that is another benefit of the 401k. It's not that you are completely alleviated from any and all of your debts and that creditors will never look for you, but a 401k or 401k accounts usually have more protections in case of bankruptcy, which make them a safer option for retirement savings. Now let's actually take a little bit of time to go over some of the bad of a 401k. So number 1 is that you do have limited investment choices. So while a 401k plan offers a range of investment options, they're usually limited to what your employer selects. So this can actually restrict your ability to diversify your investments, or it might not work perfectly with whatever financial strategy or saving strategy that you have. Number 2 are fees. So some 401k plans come with fairly high management fees and administrative costs, which can actually be a significant erosion to your savings over time. And you might not think so because the expense ratios and fees are generally less than 1%, but over time, they can actually mean the difference between thousands or even more. Number 3 are withdrawal penalties. This is one of the, at least to me, one pretty significant downside of a 401k, but I still think the benefits outweigh the costs, is that money in your 401k is a lot less liquid, meaning you don't have free access to that cash, at least without penalty. So withdrawals from a 401k before the age of 59 and a half typically incur a 10% early withdrawal penalty, along with any ordinary income taxes that you would be paying. So again, it's a lot less flexible and a lot less liquid than, let's say, money you have in your savings account or your checking account. So you can't use it whenever you want. So you're gonna need some type of planning or some preparation in how much you can put aside for your 401k to make sure you're not strapped for cash. But that does make it less convenient than, again, like having money in a checking or savings account. Number 4 is mandatory distributions. So when you reach the age of 73, you actually are required to take up a certain minimum amount for your distributions. So that has the potential to throw a wrench in your plans if it wasn't according to whatever your plan was. Now, in conclusion, that is 8 pros and 4 cons that I've listed out in this video. And overall, I think a 401k is really important and can be a really significant driver in helping you have enough retirement and definitely to be prepared for retirement. But again, in summary, a 401k plan is a very important tool for retirement savings. It provides some pretty valuable tax advantages, and I think that's one thing that you should really not underestimate, because paying taxes later could have a pretty significant advantage in terms of compound interest because you get to put in more money right now. And it's going to grow a lot throughout the years, potentially. It also has the potential for employer contributions. It can have the ability to grow through investments. Again, it's not a guaranteed that it's always going to be going up because it can have some downs and ups, but on average, usually with smart investing, you should be able to achieve an average increase year over year, or at least over time. So again, while there are some drawbacks such as limited investment choices and potential fees, the benefits in my mind typically outweigh the cons for most individuals. So that's about all I have for this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and thank you for watching.